Welcome to Vin and Mike, episode 120.
What's up, Vin? How you doing?
I am now the non-scene co-host of Vin and Mike.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Major camera issues over here, people. So.
Yeah, Vinny doesn't want to show face today.
And I had a great shirt on.
That's a shame.
I'll take a selfie and send it to you. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. I mean, what a great time for sports, college playoffs, NFL wild card. We got our New York Knicks. Great time for sports this time of year.
That's right. And KKFI out in Kansas City, you guys are very happy as the Houston Texans will be flying in there next weekend. And you go to vinandmikepodcast.com. You can check out all old episodes or at the store. Lots of good stuff on there. You can sign up on the site. So when you want to know when a new episode is uploaded, it'll tell you, all that fancy stuff that goes on. So that's it. So, Mike, you mentioned a bunch of stuff there. So I will toss it to you to start whatever topic you want.
Yeah, I think we start fresh with the wild card games. Some great ones. Some teams really took care of business, but I'll tell you, Vinny, that Commanders game last night, you look at that field goal kick at the end. Obviously, the kicker turns out was so nervous, but just off the crossbar there. How awesome was it watching Jaden Daniels just watching him play as a rookie quarterback and how he has such just amazing how he looks on the field, how confident he is. And that's what I saw in the Commanders yesterday with their big win against the Bucs.
Yeah, he looks unfazed to me. If that, yes. Whatever happens, it doesn't really faze him. He can throw a bad throw, he can get hit, he can throw even an interception or do whatever. He just, fantastic. Fantastic. So, the Bears fans that we know, they're feeling a little bit like, should we have taken Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams? Still a long way to go. We don't know. We can't get too crazy. It's only one season. We've seen the way Josh Allen played, in his first season, and saw the way that even Peyton Manning played in his first season. So you got to take some time to see what happens. But right now, Jaden Daniels, to me, looks like the NFC East is going to have a problem, especially the Giants, for a long time to come.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big win for them. So that was exciting to see last night. Probably one, and you said it before, that was probably going to be the closest, well-fought game. You were exactly right.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was very shocked with Houston beating the Chargers.
Yes.
I wasn't shocked at Baltimore and Buffalo or Philadelphia. I was probably just shocked how bad Pittsburgh played against Baltimore. But the other two games, were right where I figured they would be.
Yeah, I'll say this too. I think something that I was, we talked about on text yesterday was just the Green Bay Eagles game. The first half was just awful. It was a game of just they both had real difficulty getting to the end zone. Ultimately, the Eagles won, but for Green Bay, he threw 2 interceptions. They had that missed field goal, and the Packers had 0 on the scoreboard going into halftime. Their defense really stayed in as long as they could, but they were lucky just to be down, 10-0, but they never really were able to fight back. And in the second half, then the Eagles started chipping away. But the game itself, I mean, the Eagles, to me, I didn't really see them as dominant in that game, right? They didn't really.
Jalen Hurts was not good.
They didn't really come off to be like, "Oh, this is a Super Bowl contender."
No, Jalen Hurts wasn't good. Barkley put up a quiet 119 yards, which is kind of funny, right? Like he gained 119 yards, but it didn't feel like he was dominating, which just shows how good he really is. I think the biggest problem that I saw was Hurts just was terrible. I don't know if it was rust. I don't know if he's still feeling a headache. I don't know if he was just unsure coming back from a concussion, like all the stuff that goes along with it. But defensively, they're a very good team. It's going to be. I'm just hoping we get a really good Jalen Hurts and a really good Jared Goff. And I would love to see that as the NFC Championship game with those two teams playing at their best. I think that could be one of those games where it's like 17-13 or, something like that, like 21-17, real close all game. But we got to just see, where Hurts is in this next game. He plays the winner of this Rams-Vikings game tonight. We'll see if he's better. And then we'll see if Jared Goff and those Lions can get past Jaden Daniels and those Commanders. He's got a lot of juice there. Yeah. I think that's a tough game for them, but we'll see.
We'll see. Let's go back to the other games. You had mentioned before. Yeah, I was all about the Chargers, and because you look at before that game, Justin Herbert, he had thrown just 3 interceptions all season. And he's never thrown more than 2 in a game. And then he was picked off 3 times by the defense. So that was just crazy, just extremely disappointing performance by them. That was probably the most surprising to me as well, just how poorly they played.
Go ahead. It was so bad that people were tweeting or Xing or whatever you call it that Daniel Jones has one more playoff win than Justin Herbert. That's how bad that performance was, that they were mocking him, saying that Daniel Jones has a playoff win and he doesn't. So,
and I don't want to discount the great play of C.J. Stroud. He had close to 300 yards of passing. Nico Collins, that chemistry just was fantastic. And Mixon, they played a well-rounded game. They really did. So hats off to them.
I like their defense. Will Anderson, their pass rush. Good secondary, like you said, 4 interceptions for Herbert. He had more in one game than he had all season. So the pick 6 was really the dagger, when he overthrew McConkey. I don't know, Herbert is one of these guys now that you start entering year 6 and you're going to have to show something, moving forward here. I think he's in good hands with Jim Harbaugh. I'm not saying that he's going to never win a playoff game or anything, but ultimately, you need to figure out how to win one of these games. It's like it starts going back to that whole Matt Stafford thing, right? Matt Stafford was never won a wild card playoff game. Never could get over the hump. He goes out to Los Angeles and finally wins a wild card game, which ends up moving all the way to winning a Super Bowl. So, Herbert has to get, much better at that. But like you said, I don't want to take anything away from C.J. Stroud and the game he had. And, Houston had home field advantage, which I think they took advantage of also.
Which is always important.
Yeah.
And then, moving on, we knew that the Steelers had their hands full against the Ravens. We knew that. Yeah. And when you take Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, you have that combo, and Pittsburgh could not stop them. I mean, their defense they didn't do anything. So this, I think, the most anticipated game we'll talk about a little later is going to be the Ravens and the Bills. You got 2 elite quarterbacks there. It's really exciting. We know that early in week 4 that they Baltimore came into Buffalo and destroyed them, but that was so early in the year and so much has happened. Both defenses have improved, and these teams don't really have a lot of injuries. I mean, this is the most anticipated game to me. Really can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting. Even Tony Romo calling the Buffalo-Denver game was excited to tell Jim Nance, can't wait to see you next week here when, Buffalo's playing Baltimore. He already knew that they were getting that game. I think everybody's really excited for that game. I think it's the last game of the weekend next week, if I'm right. I think it's the Sunday.
That's 6 o'clock. Yep, that's right.
It's the last game of the entire weekend. So it's going to be Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, the two co-favorites really for the MVP. And I expect Josh Allen to run the ball like a madman to show everybody that he's a better runner than Lamar, even though he's not. But I think he wants to prove that he is, and I wouldn't be surprised if he rushes for like 2 touchdowns against Baltimore. Now, will they beat Baltimore? I would give them a slight edge because they're home. It's January. They're healthy. Josh Allen's figured a lot of stuff out. I think they've been there a little bit more than Lamar and company, in these kind of games, many times that they've played Pat Mahomes and all that stuff. I just think they're just a little more built at the quarterback position for this kind of game. Not saying Lamar's going to have a bad game or not, but I just feel like, I don't know. I watched Josh Allen, and to me, he reminds me of when Jordan was playing, and he just seemed better than everybody. So when I watch Josh Allen on the field, he just seems better than everybody. That's just the best way I could put it. He just seems
I feel like he's been in a league of his own all season. I mean, just dominant.
Yeah, I mean
that whole field, and it's just no stopping him, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm excited because I expect Kansas City to beat Houston, and I'm excited for the winner of that Baltimore-Buffalo game to go into Kansas City for the AFC Championship.
Oh, come on, really? You don't think Houston's going to beat Kansas City?
I don't think they got a shot.
I think that's going to be the biggest blowout.
I don't think they have a shot. I think, a Texas team used to being in a dome has to go outside in Kansas City. Pat Mahomes has been sleeping for 3 weeks. His whatever ankle, calf, knee problem he has is all healed. They're going to be as healthy can be. The best coach currently in the NFL coaches there, right? So I just think they're going to be ready and hold on tight, Houston. I'm hoping it's a good game. But I just have that feeling that Mahomes and that whole Kansas City team is just going to do a lot of damage.
They're only 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I know. It's a little nuts. But it is what it is.
We'll see.
Lions are probably what? Lions are what? 9?
Lions are 9.5.
9.5.
And the Ravens are a slim 1.5-point favorites.
Yeah, that's essentially a pick-em game.
Yeah.
And then I would expect the winner tonight to be probably 5 or 6 going into Philadelphia.
Yeah. Just on a side note, we're getting some comments on the side here.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I'll put one up. There we go.
Please do. Show that. All right.
Josh Allen MVP. Now, talking about that real quick. So the All-Pro MVP, or All-Pro first team, was Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen was second team All-Pro. They say that sometimes that's, gives you an inclination of who actually is going to win the MVP. So Lamar could be winning his third MVP.
I know. I just cannot wait to see this matchup. It's going to be great.
And don't forget Derrick Henry, right?
Yep.
He's second best back in the league this year. Some will say the first, right? But either way, he's going to be a load to stop. But I think the most underrated guy in this entire matchup is James Cook. Guy had, 16 touchdowns this year?
Yep.
I think people forget how good of a season James Cook had. So I like the matchup a lot. I think it really is going to come down to who makes that big play on defense. Buffalo's defense, besides the one Bo Nix pass, was fantastic after that. They played phenomenal. They just dominated that game.
It was so
Denver has a pretty good defense, and they just couldn't stop.
They dominated. Yeah, it was funny that Denver got that first score, and then after that was it. They just dominated right after that.
Yeah, I honestly thought Denver and Bo Nix was gonna continue that, but they made their adjustments. Rookie quarterback, tough to win in Buffalo. That's another thing about Jaden Daniels, right? Rookie quarterback, first start on the road in Tampa, but they're just a better team. The NFC is very strange, where I think the Lions, the Eagles, and then you got the Vikings, and then probably the Commanders, and then probably the Packers as the best teams, where I think the Buccaneers and Rams, even though they're the division winners, I think they fall below all five of those teams when it as an overall ranking. So it's a strange feel for it. But where I think the AFC, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, right? 1, 2, 3. And those are the and there you go. Like everyone, and then it's like everyone else after them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what order you have them in.
Yeah,
I think we're in store. I really think we're in store for some epic championship Sunday, right? Like the AFC and NFC championship game. I mean, think about Lions. Let's just say Lions, Eagles, or Lions, Vikings, right?
Both would be great matchups.
And then Chiefs, Bills, Chiefs, Ravens. I mean, it's just
either or. You're in for a great matchup.
It's just great. As long as we don't get Commanders and Rams.
Yeah, I think it's very unlikely. Now, speaking of that, so tonight, obviously, on neutral field. You want to hear a crazy stat, Vinny?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold is seeking to become the 6th starting quarterback since 1966 to win his first career postseason start while playing for his 4th team or later.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Sam Darnold. So how do you feel about Sam Darnold as a Jets fan? What were you? So let's talk about, when Sam got drafted and his first pass as a Jet was a pick 6, if I remember correctly. And then, the rest of his life was miserable as a Jet. But tell me some of your thoughts of like when they drafted him and what were your expectations?
Yeah, I mean, when obviously he's top 5 pick, so he came out of college and we were all excited to have him. Some fresh energy on that team. But you're right. I remember that when he threw that interception. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But like other Jets, same with like Geno Smith or even individuals who leave the Jets, they find new ground. And that's what he's done for the Vikings. He's been absolutely incredible. Aside from the last game of the season against the Lions, where I don't know what happened there, but this is a game that he could redeem himself. It's just amazing to see what the kind of product that I saw when he was with the Jets to now, and that just comes with coaching, and that comes with setting you up for success, having the right offensive coordinator and coach. But what a turnaround! But Vinny, the same thing happened with Geno Smith too when he went to Seattle. It's the same kind of thing. It's just crazy to even think about, right?
Yeah, well, the funny thing about Geno, right, is he went to the Giants. He was a backup there. Then he went out to Seattle. He backed up Russell for 2 years, maybe 3.
2 or 3.
Russell's backup. And then, Russell with the trade, they brought in Drew Lock, who they thought was going to be the starter. And Geno would back up Drew Lock, but Geno ended up winning the job. And then, of course, the rest is history.
I know.
And now he's got a big contract. And Sam Darnold is about to either be franchise tagged or get a big contract somewhere else. I don't think Minnesota is going to give him a big deal because of having JJ McCarthy, unless he wins the Super Bowl. Like he wins the Super Bowl,
it's a different story.
JJ McCarthy, you can forget all about him, But then the Jets could trade for JJ McCarthy or anybody else could, because there's no way you're going to let your Super Bowl winning quarterback, who's still 28.
Yep.
There's no way he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, and it's just crazy that Darnold's won 14 games this season as a starter for the Vikings, and then when he was with the Jets, he between 2018 and 20, he won 13 games.
Yeah, listen, it's
Different.
a different coaching staffs, right? Different, a lot of stuff plays into it. The one thing I found out is these offensive friendly systems really benefit quarterbacks. You could see how Baker has really revived his career in Tampa, right? Like he's back to being a franchise quarterback, right? You could see how Bryce Young actually got better this year. Dave Canales went in there, he got benched, he learned the offense. He's starting to look like a franchise quarterback. Cliff Kingsbury, fantastic offensive coordinator, did a great job with Jaden Daniels. And then you get poor Caleb Williams, who's has an offensive coordinator, a different head coach. Then they change offensive coordinators. They fire that guy. They bring in another guy. Then the passing coordinator becomes the head coach, and the other guy becomes the offensive coordinator. I mean, you literally get 3 offensive coordinators in one season. How do you expect a young quarterback to be successful? So, it all plays a role, right? Like Mahomes, he gets drafted by Andy Reid. Andy Reid is one of the greatest quarterback coaches ever, right?
Yeah.
That was his job in Green Bay, right? He coached quarterback for Brett Favre. He gets the head coaching job in Philadelphia. He gets Donovan McNabb, and Donovan McNabb's in 4 NFC championships, Super Bowls. He gets Mike Vick. Mike Vick does all this crazy stuff, right? Then he leaves. He goes to Kansas City, and he's got Mahomes. But would those players be different if they weren't with Andy Reid? So you try to figure that all out. I think it's a combination of things, and he just ended up in the right thing. The Jets just haven't had that situation. That's why I look at it, and I don't know what you do at the quarterback position, but I think you got to get a coach that can coach the quarterback. Your head coach,
the quarterback,
is someone that can coach the quarterback. Don't give me Robert Saleh, Todd Bowles, Rex Ryan, all these defensive guys that they've had over the years. Give me an offensive guy. Give me Matt Nagy. Give me Cliff Kingsbury. Give me Ben Johnson. Give me one of those offensive-minded guys. And it doesn't matter who your quarterback's going to be next year, but you got to get that base in place and start moving forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the only way it's going to be successful.
Yeah, it's just like
I
know you're all for Rex Ryan being back in the building. I just think it's a total step backwards, because then you got to get an offensive coordinator. Who's going to work with Rex? What kind of quarterback you're going to bring in? I just look at it. Go get a coach that can coach a quarterback and hire the other side of the ball.
Yeah. I think there's also I know with the Jets, we want things tomorrow, but you're right. You're right when you say you need a coach that can really groom somebody and give a quarterback a fighting chance, right?
Yeah.
We've seen so many times that just quarterbacks in and out, in and out, in and out. You're not help shaping them with the team. So that's the truth.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to see a little difference there.
Yeah.
But hey, I think it's honestly, I don't think it's any better for the Giants if it's even worse that they kept their current regime in place, because they haven't done anything. Now, I get it. John Mara wants to give Brian Dable and Joe Shane the opportunity to draft their quarterback and coach and move forward, right? And give them the opportunity to make some noise that way. But who are they drafting? Right?
Yeah.
I think the first pick is to Tennessee is probably going to be Cam Ward. Do you want to draft Shador Sanders at pick 3? And then the thing is, will he even be there at pick 3? Or because Cleveland, Watson blew his Achilles out again, so they need a quarterback too. They might have no quarterback even after the first 2 picks.
Yeah,
so, I don't know. The Giants are a mess, but we don't need to talk about that.
let's talk about the good teams.
Let's talk about your picks for next week real quick before we jump into the Knicks and other stuff.
Okay.
All right. So Kansas City, Houston. What's the spread right now? 7?
Yeah. So right now, I'm actually very surprised it's only at 7.5, and I would jump on that in a second.
Kansas City minus 7.5.
Yep. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll skip Buffalo and Baltimore. We'll leave that for last.
Okay, we got the Commanders and Lions. Lions are at minus 9.5. I'm going to take the Commanders at plus 9.5 for this game.
Commanders plus 9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't feel they'll win.
No.
I just think Jaden Daniels will keep him in the game.
Yeah, I think he has control. I think he'll play well. I think they have some momentum. So I think they lose. I think they lose maybe by 6 or 7, but 9.5 is a lot. So I like Washington plus 9.5. I think they could. I think it's not going to be a blowout by any means. And I think they'll keep it close, and that's where I'm leaning right now.
Now you're thinking the Vikings are going to win and play the Eagles, right?
Yeah, I think we have them tonight. Which
Yeah.
and I just with our picks, we went 0-2 the first day. We won all 3 yesterday with this one tonight. We have the Vikings minus 2.5. I truly think they're the better team. Even though they're the Rams are a higher seed. I would take we have a minus 2.5. So
I just like Brian Flores. I like his defense. To me, I'm hoping the Raiders interview him and hire him. I think he'd be great, but that's all for another day.
Yeah.
But so let's just say Eagles, I don't know, let's just say -4, right? To be fair.
-4. Okay.
Right. I figure Vikings go in there, road game, Philly. Figure -4. The Eagles won 14 games. The Vikings won 14 games. They literally had the same record. I don't know what Jalen Hurts shows up, right?
That's the problem.
I think if Hurts is good, I think the Eagles win by 10. I think if he's bad, I still think the Eagles could win. I just don't know if they could cover the spread.
Yeah. And that's the problem. It's just been a lot of inconsistency. One thing I respect about Hurts coming back, like he was rushing, like he was just giving it.
Listen, they had design runs for him. They did all the normal things. Just the passing game was way off. Now again, I don't know. I'm guessing we can ask our Green Bay Packer friends. Is the Packers pass defense that good, or was Jalen Hurts really that bad? Or a combination. Maybe there was a little bit of both.
That's going to be, I think, to me, with the Vikings winning tonight, or the Vikings, or I think that's going to be the most difficult game to bet. It's tough. It's so hard because again, I just haven't seen a lot of consistency in these Eagles.
Yeah, and meanwhile they won. They win by 12, right? Right. They easily covered the spread against the Packers.
Right.
So
but by no means they had a good game, in my opinion.
No, they're just good. Listen, Jalen Carter is like the modern day Warren Sapp, right? That guy, if you don't double team him, he's going to kill your quarterback every single play, right? So that ultimately makes the whole defensive line just better, right? Because you got to put two guys on one. So when you're the other 3 guys, they're all, it's man on man, and you get these good pass rushes from all these other guys. and the secondary is good, and their linebackers are really good, and that was the difference in the game. Just their defense was a little bit better than the Packers, and as bad as Hurts was, he didn't make the big mistakes like Love did. Love made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think, off topic but on topic real quick, I think the Packers need a legitimate number one receiver. It's nice to have these young guys and, second year players and up and coming guys. But I really felt like Jordan Love, there was a lot of injuries, but I also felt you didn't have a guy all season to say, hey, I could throw 120 targets at this guy or 140 targets, right? So like T. Higgins, perfect spot for him next year. Like if I was Green Bay, I'm signing T. Higgins tomorrow.
Yeah. I couldn't believe how many injuries they had in that game. It was like every other play.
Even what's his name got hurt? Jacobs.
Yeah.
He never came back in the game after he banged his knee on the sideline.
Yeah.
All right. Bills, Ravens. I'm going to say it's essentially a coin toss, right? We'll say it's like, who do you think is going to win? Because, 1 point is, is the game going to be 20 to 19?
I just feel
I doubt it.
Very evenly matched, but the home field for the Bills and what's at stake for them, I just feel like for them, I've been saying all year, I like them as one of my Super Bowl teams. I just feel there's so much on the line for the Bills right now, and they're playing. I think it will be one of these games where the Bills will win like 23-20 or something. I like the Bills.
The Bills.
I think they will do it at home.
I like Josh Allen and the Bills at home. The only reason is they're home.
Yep. Weather.
The weather's not too crazy. Like Baltimore can be cold and crazy. Yeah. And I don't know how I haven't even looked at the forecast. But I think ultimately, Lamar Jackson still hasn't shown that ability in this game to win it. Right?
Yeah.
Like that divisional game to get there, the championship game to get there. It just hasn't clicked for him yet. And I think on the road in Buffalo it's just tough. I think it's a tough matchup. I think it's gonna be a little higher scoring. I think like 34-27, something like that.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Games. Okay.
Again, whether I have to see the weather too. Like, ultimately if it's blizzard and 5 degrees out, then we'll have to change our whole weather forecast. So all right. Are you still feeling Bills, Lions, Super Bowl?
Yes.
Okay. Like I said, the winner of Thursday night opening.
I know you stuck with that.
So it's Chiefs and Eagles who won those games. I got to stick with it.
Yeah.
So Bills, Lions, who are you taking right now? In New Orleans, in the Dome.
I'm going Bills.
Going to Bills.
I
would think the Lions will be too fast for them in the Dome. I think like St. Brown and Gibbs.
I don't know. I think my heart's with the Bills for all they've been through. But I also have that futures bet on the Lions, so I gotta cheer them on, right?
Yeah. So. A lot of speed in that Dome. The faster team usually, is tough to beat, in a neutral field inside.
Yeah.
It's always a little slight advantage. I think Chiefs are 3-peating. until they actually lose, I'm taking them for the rest of
I can't blame you for thinking that. I don't.
in the rest of my life as a football fan. Until they actually lose, I'm picking them every season.
Yeah.
So please lose this year, so I don't have to pick them next year.
Oh man.
But you realize if they win, they'll be the first team in the
First
history
team.
of
Yep.
football to three-peat. They will have won 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls.
It's a pretty incredible stat.
Right? Something like that. 4 out of 6, something like that. Whatever, something big. Honestly, if Mahomes wins Sunday, right? They're playing Saturday.
I think they're Saturday. They're the first game.
Yeah.
Played, yeah.
If they win, it'll be his 7th AFC Championship game or 8th, something like that.
Yeah.
In a row.
Sick.
Yeah. Andy Reid's about to pass like everybody in wins. He's going to pass Papa Bear Hallis and Don Shula and everybody eventually, if he wants to continue to coach. I would coach until Mahomes doesn't want to play anymore.
Yeah, to have him as your quarterback, it's like a blessing.
Great draft pick. Remember, they traded up for him. They selected him in front of Deshaun Watson, and everybody gave them a bunch of grief for taking him instead of Watson because Watson just won the national championship. Yeah. Clemson, the whole thing, and boom. All right. Let me see how you're feeling about 140-point effort from the Knicks the other night.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome to see. I mean, the Knicks had lost 3 straight. And I know you were a little worried. I didn't feel that way. I feel good teams are able to pick themselves up. And when you have a captain like a Jalen Brunson who really goes in that locker room and said it, as this is not Knicks basketball, that's a true dignified leader. As we said, Vinny, when we talk about the Knicks, how important Cat has been and his impact on the defense and the offense. I mean, they needed that. But what I do want to see, especially, going further into the season, if we're going to get that 2 seed, is being able to play some of these other guys, even if it's for like 10 or 15 minutes a game, taking some of the minutes away from these guys who are playing like 35, 40 minutes a game. And just the only way you're going to develop your players is by putting them on the court. So I really hope we do get to see that with some of these guys like your Tyler Kolix, Cam Payne the other night, by the way, like 18 points or something, right? So you just look at that. Shimei is another one, Landry Shimei, McBride. I mean, they have some really good players. It's all about rotation, but yeah, it was great beating that Bucks team. We also dominated them when we played them at the Garden last time. That was the game that I was at. So, I mean, listen, this Knicks team, if they have the right chemistry on the court, they do play hard. They could play with anybody. So, and let me say this: that OKC game the other day was embarrassing, but when we played them on their court, we dominated the first 3 quarters and then just fell apart. But again, when things are going right, this team could compete, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I want to see them stay healthy, get the rotation, where it should be. Is this the final product before April? Before playoffs? I don't think so. I think they'll try to make a trade somewhere in there and add something. I like to see them, get somebody that can maybe play the power forward center kind of position that's defensive, can take 15 minutes, maybe score a few points. We'll see what they put together. I'd like to also see Tibbs, give Brunson some time off the court, let Bridges become the number 2 option, with him off the court and with Karl Anthony Towns off the court. Like do that kind of rotation, let Bridges assume some more shooting responsibilities. I just think he's got to get to that point where he feels comfortable being like a number 2 scorer in those situations. And I think it just takes some pressure off these guys for the amount of minutes. Of course, when it comes to crunch time, everybody's on the court, but I don't think there's any reason early in the game to have everybody constantly out there. I think they can just do better rotating Brunson and Towns more. And maybe that comes with certain guys coming back, like with Deuce McBride being back into it. And like you said, maybe Campaign playing a little bit more and Mitch Robinson coming back and Precious maybe in the rotation a little bit more just to take some of those minutes off. Because listen, when playoffs come, you don't care if somebody plays 40 minutes. But I think time of year, I don't think there's not really a tremendous amount of reason why in certain games guys have to play that amount of minutes. Like the other night, right? They get crushed by OKC. We don't need to see a single starter on the court in the fourth.
That's the problem. Right. Take your starters out.
Take them all out.
No need.
Let Stims play. Let Kolek play. Do we still got Obi's brother on the team?
Yes, he's on the team. He gets limited minutes.
Let him play. Let the ball boy play. Jeff Van Gundy wants to play.
Yeah.
How do you like Stan as a color commentator?
I think he's hilarious.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I like him.
Were you surprised that ESPN fired Jeff and no one else picked him up to commentate?
Yes,
Or did you just think he wanted to have that opportunity to be back on the court and the Celtics just gave him that opportunity?
I think I was very surprised that no one picked him up because I thought he was very good on the air, but I don't know, Vinny. That's a tough question. I think he just loves the game, right? I think he just loves the game of basketball, whether he's commentating or part of an organization. That's what he loves. So he's just a scholar of the game. That's the way I look at it.
Any rumors where Jimmy Butler's going that you heard?
No, I mean, it's funny. Someone said in passing he might go to the Knicks, but I don't think so.
No.
That's not happening.
Why would we want him?
Exactly.
It's going to ruin the entire chemistry.
Exactly. Someone said that to me, and I just started laughing. So
but then what do you think about? What do you got to give up for him?
Exactly.
Miami's not going to take Deuce McBride for Jimmy Butler.
No, it's all a big joke.
Yeah. I don't know what that guy's deal is anyway.
No,
something wrong with him. What did you think about AJ Brown reading on the sidelines?
That was the best. And then someone said, like, one of his, I forget which teammate it was. He's like, "Yeah, I've never seen him pick up a book before." Did
you see the sales of that book?
Yeah,
Amazon. It's one of the top bought books on Amazon now. The sales went up 50 million% or some crazy number.
Hey, that's advertising for you.
Free advertising.
Free advertising.
I think the book. I looked it up how much it was. It's $17.99. Let's just say he sold 10,000 of them, right? Yeah. Which it sounds like he sold more than 10,000. It's like crazy. And he says he's going to reach out to AJ Brown so he can have some conversations about the book with him.
See, look at that advertising. What it does. It's like what you do for Turntable on this show.
Why can't let's get a Vin and Mike podcast coaster to AJ Brown and have him drink his Gatorade off our coaster.
There you go. And then people are like, what's this Vin and Mike?
What's this Vin and Mike? Garbage.
What is this crap?
Nah, it's good. Good stuff. What else? Did we get everything? Anything else you want to talk about?
Just to, real briefly, congrats to Notre Dame in that win.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Ohio State on the way. So that'll be fun to watch.
Next Monday, big Monday. You know what we got next Monday? We got a day off because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
And the inauguration.
We got the inauguration. And then we got Ohio State versus Notre Dame.
What a day.
So you get to sit at home, put on the TV, watch the inauguration, and then watch Ohio State versus Notre Dame.
There you go. National championship.
Do we have any insight of singers or bands that are going to play at the inauguration?
Not yet. No. I know maybe YMCA will be played.
Kid Rock.
Yeah, Kid Rock probably. Yeah.
Will they have a bunch of dancers up there doing the Trump dance?
That'd be hilarious. Gotta love it.
Oh gosh, it's good stuff. I did find JD Vance's tweet funny when he said he was skipping the inauguration to go to
the game.
Ohio State Notre Dame.
That was funny. He's like, "Don't be mad if I go to the game."
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to skip out on the inauguration.
Yeah, that was funny. He got a sense of humor.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Do you think Notre Dame has a shot against Ohio State?
I think they have a shot. It seems like just seeing what I've just watching Ohio State. I mean, unless I'm not a big college guy, but it just seems like they're dominant, right? It just seems like the only team that's been successful against them is Michigan.
Yeah, it's the Chip Kelly offense,
Yeah.
He's getting himself ready to become the new Jets head coach, I heard.
Yeah. I'm hoping for my neighbor. He is a diehard Notre Dame fan. He actually bought me to the Notre Dame Navy game at the Meadowlands.
I remember.
So
I heard the Bears might want to interview Marcus Freeman.
Really?
That's what I heard. But I think they want to interview everybody. So.
Yeah. It'll be interesting once we start seeing who these coaches are.
Yeah. The Raiders are supposedly going to interview Pete Carroll. Yeah. I'm not excited about that. I'm more excited when Tom Brady decides he's no longer going to announce after this season and takes over his full-time GM role as the Raiders GM.
Yeah, that'll be you'd like to see that.
Yeah. Listen, he's trying to convince Ben Johnson to come interview.
Yeah.
But that window has closed as of now. Because once the bye week's over, you can't interview the active assistants anymore.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Mike McCarthy getting fired? Well, he didn't get fired. His contract was not renewed.
I mean, are you really surprised? I mean, that organization, I would say they're on par with like the Jets and Giants. What a disappointment they were this season. And
well, they were a year late on getting rid of McCarthy because after that debacle against the Packers last year, they either had to let the coach go or let the quarterback go, and they kept both. And then the quarterback got hurt, and then he signed a massive extension, then got hurt, and the team just wasn't good. I think they gave up a little bit on things the last couple of weeks too.
Yeah, and they've just been in disarray, and yeah, I'm not surprised by it. I guess the only thing I was surprised about that it took them, some of these decisions were made a couple weeks ago, so they waited it out a couple weeks to make that decision. But
yeah, they lost down on some interviews, but maybe they already have somebody in mind and they're gonna just hire them. The one good thing about the Cowboys' job is you probably get paid more than any other head coach.
This is true. They do have the money.
The bad thing is you got to work for Jerry Jones.
Right, the pressure. That's true.
Yeah. They haven't been in an NFC championship game in 30 years,
That's crazy.
right? A team that's, one of the foundations of, winning and all this stuff. They're not a winning franchise.
Yeah.
And then one last thing, Mike Tomlin. I'm hearing some rumors out in Pittsburgh that nobody that's a Steelers fan is happy that Mike Tomlin is still the head coach.
Well, listen, one thing he had going for him was, I mean, he was consistent. And when I say consistent, playing 500 football, but lack of playoff wins. And that's when we always talk about this, Vinny, that people, what do they remember most? Your, playoff success, and they have not had it, the Steelers. Yes, they've been consistent in, him finishing 500 or a little above and getting to the playoffs, but what have they really done, right? So that's what I think they just had enough. They're tired of mediocrity. That's it. So
Yeah. If Mr.
I don't think he's a bad head coach. I mean, there's something to be said that he's been consistent. It's not like they have losing records. They find a way to make the playoffs, but they don't produce.
If Mr. Rooney picked up the phone and called Mr. Johnson and said, "Woody, we'll give you Tomlin, and we want your first round pick." No answer?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Second round pick. Would you do it?
I don't know.
Remember the I don't remember what the Saints got from Denver for letting Sean Payton go to Denver, even though he was technically out for a year. I don't think they got as much. If I'm correct, I think the Raiders got a first round pick for John Gruden from Tampa.
Huh.
But again, John Gruden just came off of a AFC championship
Right.
the year before where they lost.
I don't know. Jets need all the help they could get.
But then Tomlin is a defensive-minded guy, and it takes away from the whole, hey, we need an offensive guru, which I just said.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, where does Matt get his rumor information from?
I don't know. Some of the stuff he sends to us, I'm like, how'd you hear about this? And yeah,
It's like non-existent. Does he go to conspiracytheory.com or something? Or NFL coach conspiracies? I didn't hear anything about any of that.
I didn't see anything about that.
I'm not even going to say what it is because
the thing that he sent, I didn't see anything about that.
Didn't he send us something else one time that we talked about on the show? It was nowhere to be true.
I don't know.
I feel like he sends this stuff out.
Yeah.
He's funny, man. He makes me laugh. The whole Aaron Rodgers conversation we had yesterday.
Oh, that was the best. He's very quirky. He's funny.
He's funny. Basically, he's a great guy, former guest, listens to us all the time.
He's probably our most consistent listener. He loves the show.
Yeah. And his day job, which I saw, it looks like a little growth there for that.
Yeah, some growth. His organization.
Yeah, nice to see.
Yeah.
It
is nice to see. I'm happy for him and Jason.
Yeah, good people. Good peeps.
All right, that will about wrap it up. So we're looking forward to these games this weekend, especially that Bills-Ravens game. I cannot wait.
I think I don't remember the last non-championship game that I been this excited for. That wasn't like my own team.
Yeah.
Right? I just think it's going to be a great game.
And even with me, I was just thinking real quick, someone was asking me, They're like, Mike, why are you all hung up on the Bills if they're in your division? I'm actually happy for the Bills. I saw that documentary, with the 4 straight losses in the Super Bowl and just what they've been through. And when we looked at the season this year, so many people, including me, I will admit it, thought based on what I saw on paper this year that the Bills were going to be in a minor decline. Not that they were not going to make the playoffs, but I think they exceeded all expectations, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta have respect for a franchise, and this Josh Allen to me is just like, as you said, he's just in a league of his own. He's just playing like lights out football, and it's just nice to see. And to just see this kind of matchup with Lamar and Allen, and, Derrick Henry on that, it's just going to be awesome. So,
yeah, it's not like you're turning the TV on and actively rooting for the Bills.
oh,
You're actively admiring the football.
yeah, just like here, Vinny, like Tom Brady too. I mean, he killed us for years, but when you look back at it, you gotta respect what he did. I mean, guy won 7 Super Bowls. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, he had to wait for Peyton Manning to retire to win his last 4, but that's besides the point. What?
You got to respect some of it. You got to have respect. So, yeah, it's good to see.
I was saying to my brother in seriousness that if Peyton Manning and Eli were not around, Tom Brady potentially could have won 10 Super Bowls and been in like 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for the Manning brothers, and then, of course, Nick Foles, but really the Manning brothers with the AFC championships, with Peyton and the Super Bowls with Eli, he could have been in a tremendous amount of games. They were like the only guys to beat him, besides Mark Sanchez. Good old Mark.
By the way, quick update: the Knicks are playing again tonight. They're playing the Pistons, and they're up 54-51.
54-51.
With about 4 minutes left in the second quarter.
And the Rams are winning 7-0.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Touchdown, Matt Stafford to Kyron Williams. Matt Stafford right now is 9 for 9,
Okay.
104 yards. So much for Brian Flores. He can stay in Minnesota now.
All right, Vikings, get it together. We'll see.
It's early, but
what else I want to say before we go? Kind of a little milestone episode tonight. 120. That's a nice number.
It's a big round number.
120 tonight.
Anything with a 0 at the end, besides the actual 0, is very good to see.
Yeah, it's true.
Like we said, episode 10, 90% of podcasts don't even get to 10. And here we are at 120 in our 4th year, probably right around this time in 2021 is when we did our first show. Somewhere around here. I don't remember the exact date. We should actually know our anniversary. It's kind of bad.
I'll look it up because I put the first episode on Instagram, so it's there from the archives. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it should. We should be better at that.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it was after the divisional games, so it's probably next week, sometime in next week.
See, I will tell you in 1 second because I'm going back.
All right, let me see here. Let me look at this. Let me look at these Rams and the Vikings. Let's see.
The first episode of the Vin and Mike podcast was January 18th, 2022.
Oh, 2022. 2, 3. Oh, that's right. We're in the 4th year.
We're in our 4th year. Yeah.
The beginning of 4th year.
Yes, very beginning.
So January 18th, 2022, which would be Saturday.
Yeah, that's our fourth. That would be, yeah. Happy.
Our 23, 24, essentially our third full year, but are going into our fourth season.
Yes.
That's the way you do it in this TV and radio business. You go by.
We are going into our fourth season. We got renewed.
We got renewed by StreamYard, who we're going to not renew in 5 minutes.
We're not renewing. We're not renewing them.
In 5 minutes, I'm going to make that change.
Yeah, that's it for that.
So, just so you know, I forgot this. Tonight's episode was brought to you by Dixie Cups, the leader in cups where you get your good Keurig coffee. Go out, buy a Dixie cup, put a Keurig pod into your Keurig, small, medium, large, and you can get all different sized Dixie cups. So, thank you, Dixie.
Thank you, Dixie.
You know, by the way, Matt said that Sean Payton has got an obscure stat against guys that are bald.
Yeah, I had to look at that twice yesterday. The most
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Matt is so ridiculous.
But like I said, as I see your hair here on the episode, that the Jets could just hire you and you'll never lose to Sean Payton.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right, Mike. I'm tired.
Me too, buddy.
I'm gonna go watch a little Rams Vikings, flip over Knicks and all that fun stuff.
All right, we'll chat tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the games.
Go Brian Flores.